The restaurant was too fancy. That was Sarah's first thought as she stepped through the heavy glass doors of Luminaire, one of Manhattan's most exclusive dining establishments. Crystal chandeliers cast prismatic light across white tablecloths, and the quiet murmur of conversation suggested the kind of place where even laughter was expensive. She smoothed down her navy dress, the nicest one she owned, and tried to ignore the way her hands trembled slightly. This was a mistake. She'd known it the moment her sister Emma had shown her the profile on the dating app, insisting that Sarah needed to get back out there after 3 years of focusing solely on being a mother. "Table for one?" the hostess asked, her smile professional but cool. "I'm meeting someone. Reservation under Mitchell." The hostess's expression shifted subtly, a flicker of something Sarah couldn't quite read. "Of course. Right this way." Sarah followed her through the dining room, acutely aware of the designer dresses and tailored suits surrounding her. She was a kindergarten teacher from Queens who clipped coupons and bought her clothes at Target. What was she doing here? The hostess stopped at a table near the window, where a man in his early 30s sat checking his phone. He looked up as they approached, and Sarah's stomach dropped. He was handsome, almost too handsome, with styled blonde hair, a sharp jawline, and the kind of watch that probably cost more than her car. "Your date has arrived," the hostess announced before gliding away. The man, Mitchell, stood and extended his hand. "Sarah? That's me." She shook his hand, noting the firmness of his grip, the way his eyes traveled over her face and down her body in quick assessment. They sat, and an awkward silence settled between them. Sarah reached for her water glass just to have something to do with her hands. "So," Mitchell began, his smile revealing perfect white teeth. "Your profile said you're a teacher." "Kindergarten. PS 114 in Queens," she smiled, feeling a tiny bit more comfortable. Talking about her work always helped. "It's chaotic, but I love it. 5-year-olds are brutally honest and genuinely hilarious." I'm sure his tone suggested he found nothing hilarious about 5-year-olds. "I'm in finance. Mergers and acquisitions. Just made junior partner at Goldstein and Associates." "Congratulations." Another silence. Mitchell picked up his menu, and Sarah did the same, her eyes widening at the prices. $48 for a salad? She'd have to choose carefully and offer to split the bill. "So tell me about yourself," Mitchell said, setting down his menu. "What do you do for fun? Travel much?" Sarah hesitated. This was the moment. Emma had told her to be upfront, to not hide the most important part of her life. But every time she'd mentioned her daughter on previous dates, all 2 of them in the past 3 years, the conversation had ended shortly after. "I don't travel much," she said carefully. "I have a 5-year-old daughter, so most of my free time is spent with her. We go to the park, museums, the zoo. She's really into dinosaurs right now." Mitchell's expression froze, his smile becoming fixed. "A daughter?" "Yes, Lily. She's amazing." "You have a kid." He said it like she'd just confessed to a crime. Sarah felt her cheeks flush. "Yes, I mentioned it in my profile. I was very clear about—" "No, you didn't." Mitchell pulled out his phone, scrolling quickly. "See? Nothing about a kid here." Sarah's heart sank as she looked at the screen. He was right. She'd updated her profile last week, but apparently the changes hadn't saved. The profile showed her smiling in Central Park. A photo from before Lily was born, one Emma had insisted she use because you look amazing in it, and a bio that mentioned teaching, reading, and a love of old movies, but nothing about being a mother. "I'm sorry. There must have been a glitch. I definitely tried to add that information because it's important to me that—" "Look, you seem nice," Mitchell interrupted, his voice taking on a patronizing edge. "But I'm not interested in playing stepdad to someone else's kid. I want to start fresh with someone, you know? Build something from scratch. I'm sure you understand." Sarah's embarrassment was rapidly transforming into anger. "Actually, I'm not asking you to be anyone's stepdad. We just met. But Lily is a part of my life, and anyone I date would need to accept that." "Exactly. And I can't," Mitchell signaled for the waiter. "I think it's better if we just end this now. No hard feelings, but I'm not wasting my time. The waiter appeared, and Mitchell ordered a scotch without asking if Sarah wanted anything. She sat there, feeling the familiar sting of rejection mixed with a new wave of humiliation. This wasn't just someone deciding they weren't compatible. This was someone treating her like damaged goods because she had a child. You know what? Sarah pushed back her chair and stood. You're right. This was a waste of time. But not because I have a daughter. Because you're exactly the kind of person I wouldn't want in her life anyway. She grabbed her purse and walked toward the exit, blinking back tears of frustration. She'd made it halfway across the dining room when she collided with someone, her purse falling to the floor and spilling its contents across the marble. I'm so sorry, she gasped, dropping to her knees to gather the scattered items. Lip gloss, her wallet, Lily's toy dinosaur that she'd been carrying in her bag since yesterday morning. A triceratops that Lily insisted brought good luck. Please, let me help, a deep voice, tinged with concern. Sarah looked up into the most striking pair of gray eyes she'd ever seen. The man crouching beside her was tall. She could tell even with both of them kneeling, with dark hair that fell slightly across his forehead and a strong, angular face. He wore a simple black sweater and jeans. No watch, no obvious displays of wealth. Yet there was something about him that commanded attention. He picked up the triceratops, a slight smile playing at his lips. Triceratops. My nephew would approve. He's 4 and currently convinced that dinosaurs are the only animals worth knowing about. Sarah couldn't help but smile back, even as she wiped at her eyes. My daughter is 5 and feels the same way. This one is Terry. He goes everywhere with us. The man handed her Terry and the rest of her belongings, then stood and offered his hand to help her up. His grip was warm and steady. Alexander Ross, he said. But everyone calls me Alex. Sarah Chun, she took a shaky breath. And I apologize again for running into you. I wasn't watching where I was going. Bad date? He asked gently, and there was no judgment in his tone, only kindness. She laughed, a slightly watery sound. Is it that obvious? Only because I saw you leaving from that table over there, and the guy is now drinking alone and looking very pleased with himself. Which tells me he's an idiot. You're not wrong. Sarah glanced back at Mitchell, who was indeed looking satisfied with his decision. I should go. Have you eaten? The question surprised her. What? Have you eaten dinner? Alex repeated. Because I'm here alone, you're here alone, and that table by the window has a better view than the one I was assigned. Plus, you look like you could use a glass of wine, and maybe some conversation that doesn't involve anyone being an idiot. Sarah hesitated. This was crazy. She didn't know this man. He could be anyone. But there was something about him, a calmness and authenticity in his expression, that made her want to say yes. Besides, they were in a public restaurant. What was the harm in having dinner with someone who'd shown her more kindness in 5 minutes than Mitchell had in 20? I'd like that, she said. But I should warn you, I'm probably not great company right now. I'll take my chances. Alex spoke briefly to the hostess, and within minutes they were seated at a different table. Not the one Mitchell had vacated, thankfully, near the window overlooking Fifth Avenue. The city sparkled below them, car lights streaming through the darkness. A waiter appeared, and Alex ordered a bottle of wine. If that's okay? He asked Sarah. More than okay. Once they were alone again, Alex leaned back in his chair, studying her with those remarkable gray eyes. So, do you want to talk about what happened? Or would you rather pretend this evening is just starting? Sarah considered. Maybe somewhere in between? I don't want to bore you with the whole story, but I also think you deserve to know why you're having dinner with someone who was just very publicly rejected.
I'm listening.
I'm a single mom, Sarah said, deciding to just put it all out there. My daughter Lily is 5. Her father... She paused, the familiar tightness in her chest appearing. He died when I was pregnant.
Car accident.
We'd been together since college, planning to get married, and then suddenly I was alone and pregnant and terrified. Alex's expression softened with genuine sympathy. I'm so sorry. Thank you. It was the hardest thing I've ever been through, but Lily saved me in a way. She gave me a reason to keep going, to build a life even when everything felt impossible." Sarah took a sip of water. "But dating as a single mom is complicated. A lot of men hear I have a kid and they're done. Like what just happened with Mitchell." He made it very clear that he wasn't interested in playing stepdad to someone else's child. "Then he's a fool," Alex said simply. "You having a daughter doesn't make you less worthy of someone's time or affection. It means you're someone who knows how to love unconditionally, how to put someone else first, how to handle responsibility. Those are qualities most people spend their whole lives trying to develop." Sarah felt her throat tighten with unexpected emotion. That's a really generous way of looking at it. "It's the only way to look at it." The waiter returned with wine, and Alex waited until they'd ordered food, Sarah choosing one of the less expensive options despite Alex's insistence that she order whatever she wanted, before continuing. "I don't have children, but I have nephews and a niece who I'm very close to. My sister jokes that I'm the fun uncle who spoils them, but honestly, they've taught me more about what matters in life than any business deal ever has." "What do you do?" Sarah asked. "For work. I run a company. Technology sector. It's busy, demanding, but I try to keep perspective. Money is useful, but it's not what makes life meaningful." "That's a mature outlook." Alex smiled. "I learned it the hard way. I spent my 20s working 80-hour weeks, thinking success was measured in dollar signs and acquisitions. Then my sister had her first child, and I held this tiny person who didn't care about any of that, and something shifted. I realized I'd been so focused on building an empire that I'd forgotten to build a life." They talked through dinner, the conversation flowing easily from topic to topic. Sarah found herself laughing at Alex's stories about his nephew's antics, and she shared funny moments from her classroom. He asked thoughtful questions about Lily, what she liked to do, her personality, her favorite books, and Sarah felt her guard lowering. This was what she'd been hoping for when Emma had convinced her to try dating again. Not romance necessarily, but connection. The simple pleasure of talking with someone who saw her as a whole person, not just a single mom with baggage. "I have to admit something," Alex said as they finished their meal. "I wasn't supposed to be here tonight."
No.
"I had a business dinner scheduled, but it got canceled at the last minute. I was already in the neighborhood, and I'd heard good things about this place, so I decided to try it. If my meeting hadn't been canceled, we never would have literally run into each other." "Fate," Sarah said lightly, though part of her wondered if there was something to it. Maybe Alex caught her eye. "I'd like to see you again, Sarah, if you're open to it." Her heart skipped. "You would?" "Very much. I realize you might need time to think about it, especially after tonight's disaster, but I'm not Mitchell. I don't run from single mothers or complicated lives. In fact, I think the complicated parts are what make people interesting." Sarah wanted to say yes immediately, but caution held her back. "I need to be careful," she said slowly. "Not for my sake, but for Lily's. She's already lost her father. I can't introduce people into her life who aren't going to stay." "I understand, and I respect that." Alex pulled out his phone. "So here's what I propose. We exchange numbers. We text, maybe talk on the phone. Get to know each other without any pressure. And when you feel ready, if you feel ready, we can go on a proper date. How does that sound?" It sounded perfect. Sarah gave him her number, and they exchanged a few texts right there at the table to make sure they'd saved each other's information correctly. When the check came, Alex handed his card to the waiter before Sarah could even reach for her purse. "You don't have to," she started. "I know I don't have to. I want to. Consider it apology dinner on behalf of all the Mitchells of the world who don't deserve you." Sarah laughed. "Well, when you put it that way." They walked out together, and Alex helped her into her coat with an old-fashioned courtesy that made her pulse quicken. "Can I get you a cab?" he asked. "I'm taking the subway, actually. The stop is just a couple blocks away." "Then let me walk you." They strolled through the cool evening air, and Sarah found herself telling him about her apartment in Queens, the small but cozy two-bedroom she'd managed to afford after years of saving. Alex talked about his place in the city, but also about the house he'd recently bought in Westchester. "I'm not there much yet," he admitted, "but I'm trying to spend more weekends outside the city. It has a yard which my nephews love. We play soccer and they pretend the garden is a jungle." At the subway entrance, they stopped. Sarah felt suddenly nervous, like a teenager at the end of a first date. "Thank you," she said, "for dinner, and for being kind when I really needed it." "Thank you for saying yes to dinner with a stranger," Alex smiled, and Sarah noticed the way it crinkled the corners of his eyes. "Text me when you get home safe." "I will." She started down the stairs, then turned back. Alex was still standing there, hands in his pockets, watching her with an expression she couldn't quite read. "Alex?" she called. "Yes. I'm glad your meeting got canceled." His smile widened. "Me too, Sarah. Me too." On the subway ride home, Sarah replayed the evening in her mind. The disaster with Mitchell, the unexpected meeting with Alex, the easy conversation and genuine laughter. It felt surreal, like something from one of the romance novels she secretly loved to read after Lily went to bed. But she couldn't let herself get too excited. She'd been hurt before, disappointed before, and she had Lily to think about. As if summoned by her thoughts, her phone buzzed. "Emma. How did it go? Tell me everything." Sarah smiled and typed back, "Long story. Come over tomorrow and I'll tell you everything. Bring coffee." Emma's response was immediate. "That good or that bad?" "Both. Definitely both." When Sarah got home, her babysitter, a college student from the apartment next door, was watching TV while Lily slept peacefully in her room. Sarah paid her, thanked her profusely, and then crept into Lily's room to watch her daughter sleep. Lily was sprawled across her bed, her dark hair fanned across her pillow, one arm wrapped around her favorite stuffed brachiosaurus. She looked so peaceful, so innocent. Sarah's heart swelled with the fierce, protective love that had defined her life for the past 5 years. "I met someone tonight," she whispered, even though Lily couldn't hear her. "Someone who doesn't seem scared of us. But I'm going to be careful, baby girl. I promise." Her phone buzzed with a text. "Alex, hope you made it home safely. Sarah, just got in. Thank you again for tonight. Alex, the pleasure was entirely mine. Sleep well, Sarah." She found herself smiling as she got ready for bed, and for the first time in a long time, she fell asleep feeling hopeful about the future. The next morning arrived with Lily jumping on her bed at 6:30, full of energy and demanding pancakes. Sarah groaned but got up, because this was her life, and she wouldn't trade it for anything. "Mommy, did you have fun last night?" Lily asked as Sarah mixed pancake batter. "I did, sweetheart. How was your night with Jenny?" "We watched The Land Before Time and she let me have 2 cookies." Lily climbed onto her chair at their small kitchen table. "Can we go to the museum today? They have the new dinosaur exhibit." "We can go this afternoon. Aunt Emma is coming over this morning." "Yay!" Lily loved Emma, who always brought her small presents and played elaborate imaginary games. Emma arrived at 9, coffee and bagels in hand, her eyes bright with curiosity. "All right," she said once Lily was occupied with coloring in the living room. "Tell me everything." Sarah recounted the evening, from Mitchell's rejection to the collision with Alex to the surprisingly wonderful dinner. Emma listened, her expression cycling through outrage, delight, and cautious optimism. "Wait," Emma said when Sarah finished. "Alexander Ross, in tech. Did he say what company?" "No, just that he runs a technology company." "Why?" Emma pulled out her phone and typed quickly. Her eyes widened. "Oh my God, Sarah. Is this him?" She showed Sarah her phone screen, and Sarah's stomach dropped. There was Alex, photographed at what looked like a business conference, wearing a suit and looking far more formal than he had last night. The caption read, "Alexander Ross, CEO of Ross Technologies, announces new AI initiative at Tech Summit." "That's him," Sarah whispered. Emma scrolled frantically. "Sarah, do you know who this is? Ross Technologies is worth billions. He's on the Forbes list. He was named one of the most eligible bachelors in New York last year. Sarah felt dizzy. He said he ran a company. He didn't say he was a billionaire. Well, surprise, Emma continued scrolling. Oh wow, he's also super private. Doesn't do a lot of press. Keeps his personal life out of the media. There are barely any photos of him outside of business events. She looked up at Sarah. Are you okay? You look pale. I didn't realize. Sarah sank into a chair. Emma, what was he doing having dinner with me? He could have anyone. Apparently, he wants to have dinner with you. Emma set down her phone and took Sarah's hands. Hey, don't do this. Don't talk yourself out of something before it even starts. So he's rich. That doesn't change the fact that you two connected, right? Right, Sarah said weakly. But Emma, we're from completely different worlds. I'm a kindergarten teacher living paycheck to paycheck. He's a billionaire CEO. This is like a Hallmark movie. Except in real life those relationships don't work. You don't know that. And anyway, you said you were just going to take it slow, get to know each other. Nothing has to happen right away. Sarah nodded, trying to calm her racing thoughts. Emma was right. She was getting ahead of herself. Alex had been kind and genuine with her. His net worth didn't change that. But it did make her nervous. Over the next few days, Sarah and Alex texted regularly. Nothing heavy, just small conversations about their days. He told her about a difficult board meeting. She told him about a paint explosion in her classroom courtesy of an overly enthusiastic 5-year-old named Marcus. He sent her a photo of his nephew covered in dirt, captioned, "Jungle exploration went too well." She sent him a picture of Lily's latest dinosaur drawing. The ease between them remained, even through text. Sarah found herself looking forward to his messages, smiling at her phone at random moments throughout the day. On Thursday evening, he called. "Hi," Sarah said, feeling strangely nervous to hear his voice. I hope I'm not calling too late." "No, Lily just went to bed. This is my quiet time before I grade papers and plan tomorrow's lessons." "I won't keep you long, then. I just wanted to hear your voice." There was a pause. "And to ask if you'd like to have dinner with me this Saturday. A proper date this time, not a chance meeting." Sarah's heart raced. "I'd like that." "Great. I'll pick you up at 7? And Sarah, dress casually. No fancy restaurants. I thought we could do something more relaxed." "That sounds perfect." After they hung up, Sarah immediately called Emma, who squealed so loudly that Sarah had to hold the phone away from her ear. Saturday arrived faster than Sarah expected. She spent the afternoon at the museum with Lily as promised, letting her daughter run from exhibit to exhibit, asking a million questions about every dinosaur skeleton they saw. "Mommy, why can't dinosaurs still be alive?" Lily asked for what felt like the 100th time. "Because they lived millions of years ago, sweetheart. But we can learn about them through fossils and science." "I'm going to be a paleontologist when I grow up," Lily announced, "and find all the dinosaurs." Sarah smiled, hugging her daughter close. "I think you'll be amazing at it." That evening, after dropping Lily off at Emma's apartment for the night, Sarah returned home to get ready. She chose jeans, a soft green sweater, and her favorite boots, casual but put together. She kept her makeup simple and left her long dark hair down in loose waves. At exactly 7, her doorbell rang. She took a deep breath and opened the door. Alex stood in the hallway, looking relaxed in jeans and a navy jacket. He held a small bouquet of wildflowers, nothing ostentatious, just a simple arrangement of daisies and lavender. "Hi," he said, his smile warm. "These are for you." "They're beautiful." "Thank you." Sarah took the flowers, inviting him in while she put them in water. "Come in for a minute? I just need to grab my coat." Alex stepped into her apartment, and Sarah watched him taking her home. The photos on the walls of her and Lily, the stack of children's books on the coffee table, the dinosaur toys scattered across the living room floor despite her best efforts to clean up. "Sorry about the mess," she said. "I did try to tidy up before dropping Lily off at my sister's, but toys seem to multiply when you're not looking." "Don't apologize. It looks lived in. Loved." He picked up one of Lily's drawings from the kitchen table. A crayon masterpiece depicting what appeared to be a T-Rex eating pizza. She has talent. She has imagination. Anyway, Sarah grabbed her coat. So where are we going? It's a surprise. But I promise you'll like it. They took the elevator down to street level, where a sleek black car waited. A driver stood by the door, opening it for them. Sarah hesitated, suddenly reminded of the vast difference in their lives. Alex seemed to sense her discomfort. I know it's a bit much, he said quietly, but I don't drink and drive, and if I take my own car, we'd spend half the date looking for parking. The driver will drop us off and pick us up later. Is that okay? Of course. I'm just not used to having a driver. I'm not used to going on dates that matter, Alex said, so honestly that Sarah's breath caught. So we're even. The car drove them to Brooklyn, to a neighborhood Sarah didn't know well. They pulled up in front of what looked like an old warehouse that had been converted into something else, though what, she couldn't tell from the outside. This is one of my favorite places in the city, Alex said as he helped her out of the car. It's a little unconventional, but I thought you might appreciate it. He led her through a door and up a flight of stairs, and suddenly they emerged into the most magical space Sarah had ever seen. It was a rooftop greenhouse, glass walls revealing the city skyline while inside, plants cascaded from every surface. Fairy lights were strung overhead, and in the center was a single table set for two, surrounded by ferns and flowering vines. Alex, Sarah breathed, this is incredible. It's a private dining experience. The chef is a friend of mine, and he grows most of his ingredients right here in the greenhouse. I thought it would be more intimate than a regular restaurant, and more interesting. A man in chef's whites appeared, greeting Alex warmly before introducing himself to Sarah. I'm Chef Marcus, and I'll be preparing your dinner tonight. Do you have any allergies or dietary restrictions I should know about? No, I eat everything, Sarah said, still looking around in wonder. Perfect. Then I'll surprise you. Over the next 2 hours, Marcus brought out course after course, each one more delicious than the last. Heirloom tomatoes with burrata and basil oil. Handmade pasta with mushrooms foraged from upstate. Perfectly seared fish with vegetables picked from the greenhouse that morning. Each dish was a work of art, but not pretentious. Just fresh, honest food prepared with skill and care. And through it all, Sarah and Alex talked. Really talked. Alex told her about growing up as the youngest of 3 siblings, how his father had started Ross Technologies in their garage and built it into something remarkable before his death 5 years ago. Inheriting the company was terrifying, he admitted. I was 28, still learning, and suddenly I was responsible for thousands of employees and millions of dollars in revenue. I made mistakes, big ones, but I learned. And I had my mother and my siblings to keep me grounded. Sarah shared her own story, meeting James in college, their plans for the future, the devastating loss and the struggle to rebuild her life. Some days I still can't believe I'm doing this alone, she said. But then Lily does something that makes me laugh, or she tells me she loves me, and I remember that I'm not really alone. I have her, and she has me, and that's enough. You're remarkable, Alex said quietly. The strength it takes to do what you do, to raise a child alone while working full-time and keeping your heart open to new possibilities, that's extraordinary. Sarah felt tears prick her eyes. I don't feel extraordinary. Most days I feel like I'm barely holding it together. That's what makes you extraordinary. You keep going even when it's hard. He reached across the table and gently took her hand. I meant what I said last week. You having a daughter doesn't make you less appealing. It makes you more real, more grounded in what actually matters. You really mean that. I really do. After dinner, they walked along the Brooklyn waterfront, the Manhattan skyline glittering across the water. The night was cool, and Alex offered her his jacket, which she accepted gratefully. It smelled like him, something clean and masculine and comforting. Can I ask you something? Sarah said as they walked. Anything. Why me? You could have dinner with anyone. Why a single mom kindergarten teacher who lives in Queens and can barely afford her rent? Alex stopped walking and turned to face her. Do you really want to know? Yes. Because when I met you, you were real. You weren't trying to impress me or be someone you're not. You were hurt and embarrassed and still trying to be kind to a stranger who ran into you. And when we talked, you didn't ask me what I do for a living or how much money I make or any of the other questions I usually get. You asked me about my nephews. You told me about your daughter with this light in your eyes that made me want to meet her. To see the person who puts that much joy in your face. You made me laugh. You made me think. And when you left, I realized I didn't want it to be the last time I saw you. Sarah's heart was pounding. I looked you up. After Emma told me who you were. I figured you might. Did it change how you see me? She considered. A little. It made me nervous, I won't lie. We come from very different worlds. Alex. We come from different financial circumstances. He corrected gently. But worlds? I don't think so. You value family, kindness, genuine connection. So do I. You work hard at something you love even though it doesn't pay well. I work hard at something I inherited and am trying to make meaningful. We both want to build lives that matter. That's the same world to me. You make it sound simple. Maybe it is simple, and we're the ones making it complicated. He stepped closer, his hand coming up to brush a strand of hair from her face. Sarah, I'm not asking you to marry me or introduce me to your daughter tomorrow. I'm just asking if I can keep getting to know you. Can we do this again? Yes, she whispered. I'd like that very much. He smiled, and for a moment Sarah thought he might kiss her. But instead, he took her hand and laced his fingers through hers, and they continued walking along the water, talking about everything and nothing, until it was time to go home. Over the following weeks, Sarah and Alex fell into a pattern. They saw each other twice a week, once for dinner, once for something more casual like a walk in Central Park or coffee at a small cafe in her neighborhood. Alex never pushed for more time, seemed to instinctively understand that she needed to balance this new relationship with her responsibilities as a mother. He asked about Lily constantly, seemed genuinely interested in hearing about her latest obsessions and accomplishments. When Sarah mentioned that Lily had a dance recital coming up, Alex asked if he could send flowers, and Sarah had to explain that kindergarten dance recitals didn't usually involve flowers, but the thought touched her deeply. One evening, 6 weeks after they met, they were having dinner at a quiet Italian restaurant when Alex set down his fork and looked at her seriously. I want to meet Lily, he said. Sarah's heart jumped. Alex. I know it's a big step, and I know you need to be careful about who you introduce into her life. But Sarah, I care about you. A lot. And Lily is a huge part of who you are. I can't really know you without knowing her, he paused. That said, I'll respect whatever timeline you're comfortable with. If you need more time, I'll wait. Sarah took a breath. She'd been thinking about this for days. If she was honest with herself, Emma kept asking when Alex would meet Lily, and Sarah had been putting off the decision, afraid of what it might mean. Because introducing Alex to her daughter meant this was real. It meant she was opening herself and Lily to the possibility of loss if things didn't work out. But it also meant she was opening herself to the possibility of something wonderful. Okay, she said softly, but casual and brief. Maybe we could go to the park next Saturday? The three of us. Low pressure, just an afternoon activity. Alex's face lit up. That would be perfect. Thank you for trusting me with this. The week leading up to Saturday felt endless. Sarah told Lily that a friend of hers would be joining them at the park, keeping it simple and casual. Lily, being 5, was more excited about the park itself than about meeting anyone new. Saturday morning, Sarah dressed Lily in her favorite purple overalls and rainbow sneakers. She packed a bag with snacks, water bottles, sunscreen, and of course, several small plastic dinosaurs that Lily insisted on bringing everywhere. Remember, Mommy's friend Alex is going to meet us there, Sarah said as they left the apartment. Is he nice? Lily asked, holding Sarah's hand as they walked to the subway. Very nice. He has nephews he plays with. Does he like dinosaurs? Sarah smiled. I think he might. They met Alex at the entrance to Prospect Park. He was wearing jeans and a t-shirt, looking more relaxed than Sarah had ever seen him, and he held a small bag from a toy store. "Hi," he said, his smile warm as he looked at Sarah, then crouched down to Lily's level. "You must be Lily. Your mom has told me so much about you." Lily regarded him seriously, her small hand gripping Sarah's tighter. "I heard you really like dinosaurs, so I brought you something." Alex pulled out a plush stegosaurus from the bag, and Lily's eyes went wide. "He's purple," she exclaimed, her shyness momentarily forgotten. "Stegosauruses are cool because they have plates on their backs for protection." "That's exactly right," Alex said, clearly impressed. "You know a lot about dinosaurs." "I'm going to be a paleontologist," Lily informed him seriously, "and find all the fossils." "That's an excellent career choice. The world needs more paleontologists." Lily took the stegosaurus, hugging it close, then looked up at Sarah. "Can we go to the playground now?" "Of course, baby." They spent the afternoon at the park, and Sarah watched in amazement as Alex engaged with Lily completely naturally. He pushed her on the swings, helped her across the monkey bars, and sat in the sand with her building what Lily declared was a dinosaur habitat. He never talked down to her, answered her endless questions with patience, and seemed genuinely delighted by her imagination. At one point, Lily ran off to play with another child, and Sarah and Alex sat on a bench together, watching her. "She's amazing," Alex said quietly. "You've done an incredible job with her, Sarah." "Thank you. She's the best thing in my life." "I can see why." He turned to look at her. "And thank you for letting me be here. I know this was a big step." Sarah leaned against his shoulder, feeling a contentment she hadn't experienced in years. "You're good with her. Natural. She makes it easy." When it was time to leave, Lily surprised them both by grabbing Alex's hand along with Sarah's, swinging between them as they walked. "Can Alex come to the park with us again?" she asked. Sarah and Alex exchanged glances, and Sarah saw the hope in his eyes. "Maybe," Sarah said carefully, "if he's not too busy." "I'm never too busy for this," Alex said, squeezing Lily's hand gently. They said goodbye at the subway entrance, and as Sarah and Lily descended the stairs, Lily turned back and waved enthusiastically. Alex waved back, looking like someone who'd just been given an unexpected gift. That night, after Lily was asleep, clutching her new stegosaurus, Sarah called Alex. "She likes you," Sarah said when he answered. "I like her too." Very much. There was a smile in his voice. "Sarah, I know I said I'd wait for your timeline, but I need you to know something. I'm falling for you. For both of you, really. I understand if that's too much too soon, but I wanted to be honest." Sarah's breath caught. "I'm falling for you too," she whispered. "And it terrifies me." "Why?" "Because I have so much to lose. Not just me, Lily. If this doesn't work out, if you decide this is too complicated or too much responsibility." "I won't," Alex interrupted gently. "Sarah, I'm not going anywhere. I know you've been hurt before, and I know you have every reason to be cautious. But I'm asking you to trust me. Take a leap of faith with me." Sarah closed her eyes, thinking about James, about the life they'd planned that never happened, about all the lonely years she'd spent protecting her heart and Lily's, about the fear that had held her back from truly living. And then she thought about Alex, his kindness, his patience, the way he looked at her daughter with genuine affection, the way he made her laugh, made her feel seen and valued, the way he'd never once treated her being a single mother as a burden. "Okay," she said. "I'm in. All in." "Yeah. Yeah." She could hear his relief through the phone. "Can I take you and Lily to dinner next weekend? Somewhere fun, kid-friendly. I want to do this right." She'd love that. Fair warning, though. She has very strong opinions about mac and cheese. Alex laughed. "I'll keep that in mind." The next few months were a blur of happiness Sarah hadn't thought possible. Alex became a regular presence in their lives, but always respectful of boundaries. He'd come over for dinner twice a week, helping Sarah cook while Lily showed him her latest drawings or explained dinosaur facts. They went to museums, playgrounds, the zoo. Alex taught Lily how to play chess, a simplified version, and she beat him regularly, which delighted her to no end. Emma loved him, declaring that any man who willingly attended a 5-year-old's pretend tea party with stuffed dinosaurs was a keeper. Sarah's mother, who lived in California but FaceTimed regularly, was more cautious but warmed to him after seeing how happy Sarah was. But it wasn't all easy. There were moments when Sarah's fears resurfaced, when she worried about the differences in their lifestyles. Alex had to travel sometimes for business, and while he always called Lily to say goodnight when he was away, Sarah worried about what it would mean long-term. Could he really be happy with their simple life when he was used to so much more? One evening, 3 months into their relationship, Sarah brought it up. They were at Alex's penthouse, a rare visit, as they usually spent time at her apartment where Lily was more comfortable. Lily was staying overnight with Emma, and Sarah and Alex had the evening to themselves. "This place is incredible," Sarah said, looking out at the floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking Central Park. "But Alex, it's like a different universe from my apartment." "It's just a place," Alex said, wrapping his arms around her from behind. "Four walls and expensive furniture. It doesn't mean anything, but it does. It represents who you are, what you're used to. And I keep thinking, can you really be happy with our life? With dinner at home and playground dates and my second-hand furniture?" Alex turned her around to face him. "Sarah, I'm going to tell you something, and I need you to really hear me. I spent years living in this penthouse, working 80-hour weeks, attending galas and charity events and board meetings. I dated women who looked perfect on paper, beautiful, sophisticated, from the right families. And I was lonely, desperately, achingly lonely, because none of it meant anything." He cupped her face in his hands. "Then I met you, and suddenly I understood what I'd been missing. It wasn't about the dinners or the dates, it was about the connection. You see me, Sarah. Not my money or my company or my last name. You see me. And Lily," his voice softened. "Lily teaches me something new every time I see her. She reminds me what it's like to see the world with wonder and joy. Being with you two is the most real, most meaningful thing in my life. But, no buts. Yes, we come from different financial backgrounds. But that's just money, and money can't buy what we have. I'd give up everything. This apartment, the company, all of it. Before I'd give up what we're building together." Sarah felt tears streaming down her face. "You can't mean that." "I absolutely mean it. You and Lily are my life now. Everything else is just details." She kissed him then, pouring all her love and fear and hope into it. When they pulled apart, she was crying and laughing at the same time. "I love you," she whispered. "I'm still scared, but I love you so much." "I love you too. Both of you." He wiped away her tears. "And Sarah, you don't have to be scared anymore. I'm not going anywhere." Winter came, and with it, the holidays. Sarah had always kept Christmas simple. A small tree, homemade decorations, presents chosen carefully within her tight budget. This year, she worried about what Alex would think, about the contrast between her modest celebration and what he could afford. But Alex surprised her. When he came over on Christmas Eve to help decorate the tree, he brought a box of ornaments. "These were my mother's," he explained, pulling out delicate glass ornaments, each one clearly well-loved and aged. "She gave them to me last week and said I should start my own traditions. I thought maybe we could use some of them on your tree, if that's okay with you and Lily." Lily was enchanted, carefully hanging each ornament while Alex told her the story behind them. "This one my grandmother brought from Italy. This one my father bought my mother on their first Christmas together. This one my sister and I made when we were kids. See, it's a little lopsided." Sarah watched them, her heart so full it almost hurt. This was what she dreamed of. Not wealth or luxury, but family. Someone to share traditions with, to build memories with. On Christmas morning, Lily woke them at dawn, dragging them to the living room to see what Santa had brought. Alex had asked Sarah what was appropriate to give Lily, respectful of not wanting to overshadow Sarah's gifts or spoil her daughter. Together they'd chosen a few things: a new set of dinosaur books, art supplies, and a child's microscope for examining fossils, rocks, from the park. But it was Alex's gift to Sarah that made her cry. It wasn't jewelry or anything expensive. It was a photo album, carefully put together, filled with pictures from the past few months. Sarah and Lily at the park. The three of them at the museum. Lily showing Alex her dinosaur collection. Candid shots of moments Sarah hadn't even realized he'd captured. On the last page was a photo of the three of them together, taken by Emma at Thanksgiving. They were laughing at something Lily had said, and the love between them was evident in every line of the image. Below the photo, Alex had written in his neat handwriting, "My family, my heart, my home." "Alex?" Sarah breathed, tears streaming down her face. "Too much?" he asked, suddenly looking uncertain.
No.
"It's perfect. You're perfect." She kissed him, not caring that Lily was watching and making exaggerated gagging sounds. "Ew, grown-up stuff," Lily declared, but she was smiling. That afternoon, Alex's family came over, his mother, his sister Rebecca with her husband and 3 kids. Sarah had been nervous about meeting them, but Alex's mother embraced her warmly, whispering, "Thank you for making my son happy again." The apartment was chaotic with 5 children running around, but it was the best kind of chaos. Rebecca pulled Sarah aside at one point, watching Alex play with all the kids. "I've never seen him like this," she said quietly. "So relaxed, so genuinely happy. Whatever you're doing, keep doing it." "I'm not doing anything," Sarah protested. "I'm just being myself." "Exactly. That's what he needed, someone real. Someone who loves him for who he is, not what he has." Rebecca smiled. "He talks about Lily constantly, you know, shows everyone pictures of her drawings. He's completely smitten with both of you." As Sarah watched Alex swing Lily around while his nephews pretended to be dinosaurs attacking them, she felt a peace settle over her. This was her life now. This beautiful, chaotic, loving life. In February, 6 months after they met, Alex asked Sarah and Lily to move in with him. Not to the penthouse, to the house in Westchester he'd bought but barely used. "It has a yard where Lily could play," he explained as they walked through the empty rooms. "Her own bathroom with a tub. I know she loves baths. There's a room that would be perfect for your home office, where you could grade papers and plan lessons. And look." He led them to a sunroom at the back of the house. "I thought this could be Lily's reading corner. We could fill it with bookshelves and beanbags and anything else she wants." Lily was running from room to room, exclaiming over everything. "Mommy, there's so much space. Can I have a dog? Alex, can we get a dog?" "Let's start with the house first," Alex said, laughing. "Then we'll talk about a dog." Sarah stood in the middle of the living room trying to process. "Alex, this is too much." "It's not. Sarah, I want to build a life with you. A real life, a shared life. I know it's fast and I know it's scary, but this feels right. Doesn't it feel right to you?" It did. God help her, it did. Despite all her fears and all the logical reasons why she should slow down, her heart knew this was where she belonged. "What about my lease?" she asked, because she needed to be practical even in the midst of this overwhelming emotion. "I'll pay the penalty for breaking it. And if you want to keep the apartment as backup, in case this doesn't work."
No, Sarah interrupted.
"If we're doing this, we're doing it. All in, remember." Alex's smile could have lit up the entire house. All in. They moved in over spring break, with Emma and Rebecca and Alex's mother all helping to pack and unpack. Alex had insisted on hiring movers, but Sarah and Emma had packed everything themselves, wanting to do at least that part their own way. Lily adjusted immediately, thrilled with her big room and the backyard where she could hunt for fossils. She started kindergarten at a nearby school in the fall, and while Sarah had worried about the transition, Lily made friends easily and came home every day with stories about her new adventures. Sarah continued teaching, driving into Queens 3 days a week for work. It was a longer commute, but she loved her job and her students, and Alex never suggested she should quit. Instead, he made sure she had a reliable car and a comfortable office at home for the days she worked from there. But it wasn't all smooth sailing. They had their first real fight in July, over something seemingly small that revealed deeper tensions. Alex had bought Lily an expensive art set without consulting Sarah first, and Sarah had been furious. "You can't just buy her things without asking me," Sarah said, her voice tight with anger. "I'm her mother. I make decisions about what she gets and when." "I know that. I wasn't trying to undermine you. I just saw it and thought she'd like it." "That's not the point. The point is that you have all this money and you're used to just buying whatever you want whenever you want it, but that's not how I want to raise her. I don't want her to think she can have everything just because you can afford to give it to her." Alex had been quiet for a moment, then nodded slowly. "You're right. I should have asked you first."
I'm sorry.
"I'm not trying to control your relationship with her," Sarah said, her anger deflating into exhaustion. "But Alex, I've been doing this alone for 5 years. It's hard to share those decisions, to trust that someone else will make the same choices I would." "I know, and I'm still learning how to be part of a family like this. I'll make mistakes, Sarah. But I promise to always listen when you tell me I've messed up." They worked through it, establishing clearer communication about decisions involving Lily. And Alex proved true to his word. When Sarah said no to something, he backed her up, even when Lily protested. By the time Lily turned 6 in September, they'd fallen into a rhythm. Alex had cut back his hours at the company, promoting a COO to handle day-to-day operations so he could be more present at home. He coached Lily's soccer team, attended every school event, and was as much a parent to her as Sarah was. One evening in October, after Lily was asleep, Alex and Sarah sat on the back porch, wrapped in blankets and watching the stars. "I want to marry you," Alex said suddenly. Sarah's heart stopped. "What?" "I want to marry you. I want to legally be Lily's father, if she and you would want that. I want to grow old with you and watch Lily grow up and maybe have more kids if you want them, and build this life we've started into something permanent." He turned to look at her. "I don't have a ring yet because I wanted to ask you first if this is even something you'd want. But Sarah, I love you. I love Lily. And I want to make this official." Sarah's eyes filled with tears. "You want to adopt Lily?" "If you'll let me. I know I can never replace her father, and I would never try. But I love her like she's my own daughter. She is my daughter, in every way that matters." "She'd be thrilled," Sarah said, laughing through her tears. "She asked me last month if you were her dad now, and I didn't know what to tell her." "And you? What do you want?" Sarah took his face in her hands. "I want everything with you. Marriage, family, all of it. Yes, Alex. 1,000 times yes." He kissed her then, deep and loving, and Sarah felt like everything in her life had finally aligned. All the pain, all the struggle, all the lonely years. They'd led her here, to this moment, to this man who loved her daughter as his own. They told Lily the next morning over pancakes. "Lily, sweetheart," Sarah began, "Alex has something to ask you." Alex knelt down beside Lily's chair, suddenly looking nervous in a way Sarah had never seen. "Lily, you know how much I love you, right?" "Yep," Lily said cheerfully, her mouth full of pancakes. "Well, I love your mom too, very much. And I'd like to marry her, which means we'd all officially be a family. What do you think about that?" Lily swallowed her pancakes and looked at him seriously. "Would you be my dad?" "I would like to be, if that's okay with you. I know you had a dad who loved you very much, even though he died before you were born. I could never replace him. But I'd like to be your dad too, if you'll let me." Lily considered this, her 6-year-old face solemn. Then she launched herself at Alex, wrapping her arms around his neck. "Yes, I want you to be my dad." Alex held her tight, his eyes closed, and Sarah saw tears on his cheeks. When he opened his eyes and looked at Sarah over Lily's head, the love and gratitude in his expression made Sarah's heart swell. They were married in December, exactly 1 year after that first Christmas together. It was a small ceremony, just family and close friends, held in their house in Westchester. Lily was the flower girl, wearing a purple dress she'd picked out herself and carrying a basket of rose petals mixed with small plastic dinosaurs, which made everyone laugh. As Sarah walked down the makeshift aisle in their living room, she thought about the night she'd met Alex, how she'd been rejected and humiliated, sitting in that fancy restaurant feeling like she wasn't enough because she had a child, how she'd literally run into the man who would become her husband, who saw her daughter not as baggage but as a blessing. Alex's eyes were shining as she reached him. "You're beautiful," he whispered. "You're not so bad yourself," she whispered back, making him grin. During the ceremony, they included a special moment where Alex officially promised to be Lily's father, placing a small ring on her finger, a simple silver band with a tiny dinosaur engraved on it. Lily beamed with pride, showing it off to everyone who would look. At the reception, Sarah's mother made a toast. "I was worried when Sarah told me she was dating again," she admitted. "After everything she'd been through, I didn't want to see her hurt again. But Alex, you've proven yourself to be exactly what my daughter and granddaughter needed. Not a savior, but a partner. Someone who sees their strength and their worth. Thank you for loving my girls." Later, as they danced their first dance as husband and wife, Alex held Sarah close. "Happy?" he asked. "Deliriously," Sarah answered honestly. "Though if you'd told me a year ago that I'd be married to a billionaire." "Forget the billionaire part," Alex interrupted. "I'm just a man who got incredibly lucky when a beautiful woman ran into him at a restaurant. I think I'm the lucky one." "Then we're both lucky." Lily danced between them, and they scooped her up, the three of them swaying together as their family and friends looked on. Sarah thought about Mitchell, the man who'd rejected her so coldly for having a child. She hoped he was happy somewhere, but she also hoped he'd learned something about what truly mattered, because he'd missed out on knowing what she knew now, that love wasn't about finding someone perfect. It was about finding someone who saw your imperfections and loved you anyway. Someone who saw your complications not as obstacles but as opportunities for growth. Alex had done that. He'd looked at a single mother with a complicated life and limited means, and he'd seen someone worth loving, someone worth fighting for, someone worth building a life with. And in return, Sarah had given him something money could never buy: a real family, genuine love, and a life full of meaning. Years later, when people asked her about their love story, Sarah would always smile and say, "He didn't care that I had a child. Actually, that's not quite right. He cared very much, but in all the right ways, because that was the truth." Alex hadn't overlooked Lily to be with Sarah. He'd embraced Lily, loved her, chose them both, and that made all the difference.